Hello everyone, wowie, is that another video by your boy? It sure is, Skip. Today we're going to talk about Phase 3 of classic World of Warcraft. What did it do good, what did it do wrong, what was my passion with it? Well, first of all, still playing the Moonkin. I think it's alright. The new runes, spoiler, I felt like the new runes this phase straight away for Moonkin were really eh. Gale Winds is nice, but like it's not really that much of a DPS upgrade to like 5 targets or 6 targets or something. The mana cost was nice to get buffed, so I guess you can use it, it's not bad. But the runes are just kind of boring, I'll be honest. Like, they weren't very interesting, but I'm sure other classes, like for example, Shaman had a huge glow up with their rune. Prot Warrior had a huge glow up with their rune as well as the Devastate buff. Like, some runes were good, but for Moonkin, it wasn't that good for me. So that's my opinion on the runes. I didn't really play much else this season. I was like playing other games, and honestly I was getting ganked to absolute shit trying to level. This server is OCE dominant. OCE is Alliance dominated by far, so going to Daenerys and trying to get the Shaman rune took me, I think, 9 hours on the first day. I was just constantly ganked, constantly shit, and in the end I had to team up with someone who luckily needed the piece I didn't need. Which, that is 100% annoying as fuck, and I've got the Morgul soundtrack playing in the background, so, because Morgul is based. But that was my experience. I only played the Moonkin for this, so leveling Incursions, I didn't like them. I'll be honest, I didn't like them for 2 reasons. One is classic, you know, just seeing a bunch of people run around in like a rotor, just doing all their side quests. It's like, if you just want a turbo level up, that's fine, but it's kind of eh. Like, for me personally, I never did Incursions past like the first like quests and stuff like that, and or the legendary questline. You can actually see this by my reputation is like, where is it? I don't know where it is. Oh, there it is. Emerald Wardens. Neutral. I didn't really do it. I just don't like what they promote, like just running around. You don't interact with anyone, you don't do quests, you're just running backwards and forwards. I mean, like, it was something nice they did for new content. I do think it's cool, but what it promoted being like the influx of gold was really bad early on, and they fixed it. People just turbo leveling there, not doing anything else. And thirdly, like, because unfortunately this realm is very Alliance dominated, the Horde were just getting slaughtered. You couldn't go there. It was pretty bad. There was just a sea of red names when I went there on day 1 and 2, and then I think day 2 was when the Alliance were like, hey, wait a minute, we don't need to level anymore, let's just gank Horde for a millennia. And that really pissed me off, which led me to doing PvP again. I didn't PvP in Phase 2. I don't think I even hit rank 4. I hit like rank 3 and like 80% or something. I grinded to from rank 3 80% all the way to rank 6, just killing people in Ashenvale. I was the one-man army on my server. I was bringing it back for the Horde. I would sit there, I would Star Surge, I would do the older Star Surge, Starfire, and it was really fun, which brings me to the next topic, PvP. PvP, I felt like PvP was a lot better this season. It was a little slower than it was in Season 2. Season 2 was way too fast, like, you would just one-shot people. It's still kind of fast, but, like, it's not as fast, and, like, I think, like, Moonkin was really fun to play with, improved Frenzied Regen. I did say the runes weren't very interesting, like, Alun's Fires is boring, but improved Frenzied Regeneration is huge for PvP, absolutely massive, it was great. Yeah. Really strong rune. So for PvP I enjoyed it. For PvE it was kind of the same shit. And yeah, I got to rank 7 spanning Arathi Basins over the weekend, which was fun. I enjoyed it. PvP was fun this patch. Next is the new other stuff, like for example the new quest lines, being the legendary quest line and the Wild Offerings quest line, as well as doing stuff for Wild Offerings. I think that was a really good idea. It was an amazing idea. Actually, I really enjoyed Moradon. I love farming Moradon. It's one of my favorite things in Classic. I love the place. It was good. All the dungeons this season, fun. You know, there's reasons to do them because of the gear, stuff like that. The gear in Nomargon was kind of ridiculous, so like you couldn't. I think for the health of the game, you didn't want gear scaling like crazy between 40 to 50. So I'm kind of glad they brought it back a bit. The downside of this was the gear from the raid wasn't that much better in some cases than the Nomargon gear. So I'm glad like they eventually changed it a little bit, but yeah, that was a downside of it. The Wild Offering, just doing it was really fun. I enjoyed it. Doing stuff for pre-BIS outside of the raid, for BIS really, outside of the raid is fun. Like the belt, I think it's the belt and the trinket were from the Wild Offerings. That's kind of fun. The quest line was fun. It was fun. It was really fun to do with mates as well. And yeah, obviously Maradon's based as fuck, so that's sick. The next thing to go about, so we've gone over we go on all that. World buffs are still a thing. They're not that bad though. It's like Songflower. You know, Songflower's the only one really that you have to do anything for. Like Temple Explorer is easy enough. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, getting Songflower isn't that bad. Just because as Horde, you can I would just log in, go into this one that's like here in Felwood or here. I forgot where the flight mat is, like here. And yeah, just pick it up, and that's about it. So, which was fun too. Sometimes you would see like a hunter or something, like Shadow Melted there to fuck with people. That's always fun. I enjoy that because I can go cat form and track humans, and it's kind of fun to like try to stop people from griefing. I think that's fun. I do think that's enjoyable. As well as like, you know, getting purged or something. But I think that's fun. It wasn't over the top. Like, it wasn't like classic and having a full like what was it, 6 or 7 world buffs. Hopefully with Diamore coming next patch, it's not insane, but we'll see. But yeah, so that was a world buffs to find. Now, going into the meat and potatoes of it, the raid. Now, what did I think of Sunken Temple? This is a lot of people's endgame is Sunken Temple. Initially, it released way too hard. To me, Classic, even SOD, isn't meant to be that hard. It's meant to be something you can just shoot the shit with mates. And it was nerfed to that point, and I think that's a good thing for the game. I don't think every single raid, if you want to play a hard game, go play retail, go play Cataclysm Classic, and go join a heroic guild. If you're playing Classic, you're not inherently playing because it's hard. You're playing because of what the game is, and the game's Classic's never been like an insane like. It's sweaty in the way that it takes time, but it's not sweaty in the way that it's really hard. I think they eventually met a balance with how difficult the content should be, but also how easy it is to get, like, entry level, like, to get into the content. Like, the damage you need to do early on was insane. Obviously, they nerfed it. As well as, like, the growing pains for a lot of guild. I think this season was going from a 10-man raiding guild to a 20-man raiding guild. That would have, you know, sucked. I joined a friend's guild called Yum, and we raided for fun. We did most of the time, sadly, we did 19-man a lot of the raids. A lot of the raid nights, just because we couldn't get a 20th because we were like saving a spot in case someone logged in kind of deal. But we still would get like about 1 hour clears, which whilst it's not like insane, like, I'm not bragging, but that's really respectable. Like 1 hour clear is like pretty nice because, you know, Songflower is 1 hour, so. The boss fights themselves, I think they were pretty good. If I had to critique any boss fight, I don't know if they were their place, I think. Hakar's kind of fun. The last boss is sorry, when I say last boss, I mean the hardest boss being Shade. Shade is probably, I would say, is the hardest boss in there. But when you get more gear and you can just Zerg P for it, doesn't matter as much. So it's nice. Class balance. I think this phase, class balance is really, it's not as crazy as last phase with like Survival Hunter and Enhancement Shaman just being so far ahead of everything. But it's okay. Like, it's not perfect. For example, like Shadow Priest and Moonkin kind of suck. Like, tanking, like, I know Rogue's kind of bad. Prot War is insane. Enhance was really, really, really insane before they nerfed certain stuff. But I think it's still playable. But I don't know about healers. I don't play healers. But, like, I think the balance is better. Like, it's still classic, so it's not going to be perfect. But I think Season 3's balance was okay. Like, Prot Warriors are obviously insane as main tanks. Like, absolutely insane. And, you know, Warrior in general is insane. Enhancement's insane. But, like, like, there are definitely, like, losers and winners. Losers, and Elemental Shame got a huge buff mid-season, right? And now it's, like, pretty good. But, like, stuff like Moonkin and Shadow Priest is kind of meh. Shadow Priest has the utility of, like, you know, it's got Vamp Touch, which is very big if you're, like, 2 healing, or even 1 healing certain bosses in Sunken Temple. I think as long as Shadow Priest and Moonkin have utility, I think they'll still be bought, but Moonkin I don't think has as much utility as, like, Shadow Priest, for example. I don't think Fawns and Innovate, when, like, in the current meta, Innovate's not super, it's nice, but it's not super important, because right now everyone's just stacking Shamans if you're on Horde side. I assume they're stacking Paladins if you're Alliance. And, yeah, but they are nerfing that. I don't think it's by much, though. I think they're only nerfing the mana cost in half, so maybe most people just stack even more Shamans. But as long as Shaman's like a really strong DPS, people will just stack them because you can just basically get infinite mana batteries from them. I think the changes they're doing for Season 4 are potentially good. Like, they're moving a lot of the must-have runes away from chests, like, you know, like Aspect of the Lion, the mana back thing. I forgot what it's called, sorry, for Shaman. The thing they press and it's a damage reduction, gives them mana back. They're moving that off the runes and just making them core abilities. That's probably for the best. Just because it's so mandatory. Like, you're never going to have a Shaman run, like, it's a real struggle for Shamans to run certain things, especially tank Shamans as well, because they're, like, pants swapping trash, away from what is it, Way of the Earth, to be able to use that mana regen so they can just hold AoE threat better. That's probably, I mean, that's in one way that's cool, but in other ways, you know, it's not really the best how mandatory it is, you know, balance. Next phase being Molten Core. Sulfuros is going to be a Feral weapon. I might be playing Feral just because I don't know if Moonkin's going to be good. Like, Moonkin's been probably the worst caster every single phase, I think. Like, it's not the best. Like, I think Shadow Priest was worse phase 1. But I always say Shadow Priest was obviously really good phase 2. And it's still okay phase 3. Like, it's not doing the most damage, but the utility of being able to cut a healer and just go Shadow Priest is, like, really good, right? But they're getting, I think they're getting really some mana back to their party, based on like a dot's damage, which is cool, and the dot does damage, so that's cool too. I think they're getting Vamp Touch or something, but we'll see. Moonkin's rune next season is Starfall, which yeah, if you haven't seen it, just a cooldown from like Kato where they like do a circle around them and does like damage. But a lot of the damage seems to be coming from that, so if that rune's bad, Moonkin's gonna suck. If that rune's good, Moonkin's gonna be really good, but it's a cooldown, so we'll see. I might just play Feral because Feral just seems like more consistent, and you're gonna want a Feral. Like, still brings Wind Fury, it brings Fairy Fire, you know, Feral Fairy Fire, it brings 1% hit on Fairy Fire thanks to the 2-piece, as well as just like the Feral crit bonus you get for melee to the pack, and we'll see what's good. If melee's good, Feral's going to be really, really good. So we'll see about that. But yeah, that's basically it. The Blood Moons are still the same thing. Nothing else really came out this phase. And I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble. I don't really have any stories about other stuff. I didn't really play anything else this season. I leveled my warrior and got bored because I've leveled a warrior so often. I tried playing Shaman, but the grind for the rune really took it out of me. And we'll see how balance goes. I think it's too soon to comment about that yet. But the dungeons coming out are like Diamol, Strat, and Skolo. I love Strat. It's my favorite dungeon of all time, so I'm going to be running the heck out of Strat. I hope Diamol doesn't have the world buffs, unironically. I don't want to be getting all those world buffs for Raid Night. That's, you know what I mean? I'm under this. I'm a kind of a gamer, and I just like, I think the content should be more approachable. I know world buffs do add something to the game, but having to do like a checklist of all these things every week when I just want to play the character and do whatever, like, personally, I think the world buffs are fine as they are. Like, one from the raid, Dark Moon's fine, Song Power's fine. I don't know how I feel about going forward, like, when you can have, like, stuff like Dragon Slayer, ZG buff, like, Diamol tribute runs, like, we'll see, though. We'll see what they decide to do. I'm looking forward to it. I hope everyone had fun this phase. I know going from 3 day raiding to 1 raid might have burnt some people out because it gives you time to, like, try new things. But I think it was for the best. I wouldn't want to do a Sunken Temple every 3 days. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Yeah. I rambled a little bit, but yeah. Have fun.